Hello folks, in this one we're looking at good reliable used estate cars for under 10 grand, and we're looking at manuals and automatics. Some of these are not the most exciting cars in the world, but some of them are pretty blooming good, and they should all be fairly reliable as long as you do all the normal checks that you would usually do when buying a used car. Let's crack on. First one is the Toyota Aventus Touring Sport. The 1.8 VVTi petrol is the one I'd go for. 2012 to 2018 car, manual, CVT, automatic, both available on it. 543 litres of boot space, 45.6 mpg. Real world, probably going to get about 40 from that. Large boot, massively reliable. Automatic fuel economy is probably 3 or 4 mpg less than the manual, so that's just something to bear in mind. But they're just so incredibly reliable. That's the reason you see lots of them being used as taxis still to this day. The diesels are also decent, but probably a bit less reliable overall.
So on the face of things, this looks like a decent enough example. 62,000 miles, 2013 manual petrol, 7,750 quid. And it says this one's got 15 stamps from Toyota. One thing I strongly recommend you do is get a V-check on one of these. Forget about the free history checks that you get on Auto Trader. Use the link in the video description and get yourself a V-check, simply because they'll check to see if it's been imported, if it's ever been registered as a taxi, and also if it's ever gone through a salvage auction, because you can get cars that are completely HPI clear. They've actually been written off in the past, they just haven't been put on the database. I did a whole separate video about that, which is the main pinned video on my channel, I believe. But link to VCheck is in the video description, from 3 quid up to 10 quid. Way cheaper than Car Vertical, and I think every bit as good.
The Honda Civic Tourer is another one to have a look at. Now, if you're doing regular long journeys, you can look at one of the diesels. It's the 1.6 diesel they did. You can get those. I think they're still tax exempt. They do great MPG and are reasonably reliable as long as they're getting well run. But the one I'm looking at here is the 1.8 VTEC petrol, 2014 to 2017. You can get that as a manual or a CVT automatic. 624 litres of boot space, 48 mpg. Between 42 and 45 in the real world. You know, Hondas generally are pretty good against WLTP figures. Huge boot, flexible seats. CVT is very reliable, although it's a CVT, so it will go under harsh acceleration, but sometimes I do that.
Here's a good example of the Civic. It's not the most exciting colour in the world, is it? 8,491 quid, 69,756 miles. I never like to see that. It just looks too perfect. Just under 70,000 miles. 2015 car, manual petrol. There's the interior. There's the exterior. I don't think they're bad looking cars, to be fair. Massively practical, known for the reliability, and you should get decent MPG from it.
The Mazda 6 Tourer, now you definitely want the petrol of this because it's way more reliable than the diesel is. Now you're looking at 2012 to 2018 models. It does come as a manual or a traditional automatic, so that's like a torque converter automatic, which are usually pretty good. 522 litres of boot space, 44 mpg. Not far off that in the real world. It's a great looking car, I think. I think the Mazda 6 flies under the radar a little bit sometimes, but if you stand back and look at it, it's a very good looking car. Quite a sporty feel to it as well. They handle quite nicely.
This is the sort of thing you could get for under 10 grand, 68,000 miles, 9,195 quid, manual petrol, 2015 plate. I do think that's a good looking car. Still to this day, I think that's a good looking car. 2 owners on that one. Hopefully it's got full service history and all the rest of it, but around about 9 grand seems fair for that.
Next is the Subaru Outbacks, the 2.5 litre petrol, 2010 to 2014. And if you just need something that's a bit more rugged, you can't go too far wrong with the Outback. 512 litres of boot space, 32 mpg. All-wheel drive, rugged, practical. The manual's pretty solid. and an all-wheel drive in this sort of class is pretty rare, really, a proper all-wheel drive car.
The road surfaces around you are more rugged than a bricklayer's palms. The Outback 2.5 litre petrol SE Lineartronic, this is the automatic, this is a CVT, which is not amazing, but it is what it is. Four-wheel drive, 2015 model, 74,000 miles on it, just over 10 grand, but I dare say you could find one that's just under if you wanted to stick to the incredibly strict rules of this video.
Folks, just a very quick reminder to subscribe to the channel if you haven't already done so. Thanks. The Kia Optima sports wagon, and I'd probably go for the 1.7 diesel in this, obviously if I'm doing long journeys more often than I'm doing short journeys, because that should be your general rule of thumb with a diesel. You've got a manual and a traditional torque converter automatic available to you, 552 litres of boot space, 62 mpg, got big boot, loaded with technology, and the automatic gearbox is actually fairly dependable in these. Again, not a bad shout, and it may have well flown under your radar in the past because you don't see millions of them around on the roads.
Here we've got 75,000 mile 2017 Kia Optima diesel. It's 2 trim. In Kia they do like 1, 2, 3, 4, so it's one above base spec, but quite often that's sort of the sweet spot in Kias. 7.5 grand for one of those, which doesn't look too bad at all.
And then basically the same car over again is the Hyundai i40 Tourer. Obviously Hyundai and Kia are the same company, effectively, the same group.
And then if we look at the i40, which of course is a very, very similar car underneath, 6 grand for a 78,500 mile 2017 model. And I think the i40 is possibly just a tad better looking out of the two.
Next, we've got the good old favourite, the Skoda Octavia Estate. A lot of people still poo-poo Skoda like it's some, you know, obscure Czech brand where they made cars in less than ideal situations. But it's VW Audi Group. I think Skoda producing some of the best built cars within the VW Audi Group nowadays. You've got the 1.4 TSI petrol or the 1.6 diesel. They're the two that I would consider for this. I probably wouldn't go for the 2 litre diesel, and certainly anything more on the petrol engines is probably overkill. You've got manual or DSG automatic. Manual's going to be a safer bet because DSGs sometimes age a bit like milk, so they get a bit lumpy and smelly, and they can be expensive to fix. But when they're new, they're brilliant. It's just a bit like that for reliability at times. 610 litres of boot space in one of those, so you're not lacking for space. Now with the diesels, I think they're about 60 mpg on the WLTP cycle, and on the long run you might actually get that. They're incredibly efficient. What those 1.6 diesels don't like though is short journeys around town, so only consider the diesel if you do regular long journeys, and that means more than half an hour or more than 20 minutes at motorway speed. Very important that, otherwise you're going to find yourself having DPF issues, and they can be a pain in the bum. Huge boot, very practical, efficient, solid family cars. They just do it all really and go about their business without too much drama usually, so that would be a fairly safe bet as far as I'm concerned.
So the Octavia here, this one has got the DSG. I mean, I do like the DSG. It's just not as reliable as the manual. But if you want to take the gamble, you can get the one with the DSG Auto for 10 grand. 2017 model, 67,000 miles. Really not bad value for money.
You can also get the VW Passat. That's also available with that 1.6 turbo diesel. There's also the 2 litre diesel, which is probably the more common of the two. Just be careful with things like EGR issues. I think they've got DPFs as well. Some of them would have DPFs. So again, it's a car that you need to do long runs in if you're going for the diesel. Petrols are pretty decent on them though, and you can't go too far wrong with those, although you're not going to get that amazing frugality that you get in something like the 1.6 diesel.
Tech Executive, this one is a private seller, £65,811, 2014 model. Just bear in mind that's a 2014, might not be compatible or with your local ULEZ or whatever, so you might want to be looking for a 2015, but you can get one of those for 6.5 grand. And if you went up to a 2016 model, 7,800 quid. It's got 73,000 miles on it though. But again, it's that 1.6 diesel, and that still looks like it's decent value for money.
BMW 3 Series Touring, so the 320d or the 320i, you're looking at 2012 to 2018 roughly. You've got manual and automatic options. Now, loads of people go for the diesel, like loads of people swear by the 320d. You can also get it in the 5 Series, etc. But they have timing chain issues. And someone I know who's a BMW Master Tech told me, I think the service interval is something like 18,000 miles on them for the oil change. And he said you want to do it every 6,000 miles because all day, every day, he's repairing cars that have had issues with that timing chain. Everything's gone out of whack, and then the engine blows up. So I take a BMW Master Tech's advice on that. And if you are getting one of those and you want it to live a long, prosperous life, look after it. Like, really look after it. The petrol's going to be far less problematic, but of course you're not going to get the amazing MPG that you get with the diesel. And that 320d, the reason it is so popular, one of the reasons it's so popular, is because it's got good performance, really good frugality, a nice amount of torque. Like, it sort of does everything. You can also map them and do all that kind of stuff if you're that way inclined and get even more performance from them. But do not skip the oil changes, and make sure you take whatever it says in the owner's manual with a pinch of salt and really keep on top of the maintenance on one of those.
This one's with a private seller. It's a 2013 BMW 3 Series 320i, luxury touring, automatic, X-Drive, Euro 6. Again, you might want to look at the manual if you just want a generally more reliable car, and it should return a little bit more MPG. But if you did want the autos, they're still available at this kind of money. 8-9 grand will get you a nice, reasonably low mileage for its year car, around about 2013, 2014. So there is some good value around on these. But I think any of these cars, the service history is really important, but much more so on a BMW, because of course, when they do go wrong, they can be quite expensive to repair.
I hope you found that video interesting or useful, folks. Please show your appreciation in the comments and with a thumbs up, and of course with a subscription. If you like this kind of content, the best way to tell me about it is to click the subscribe button, because I can see how many new subscribers I've got from this video. And if I've had more from it from this one than a new car review, maybe I'll do more of these kind of videos. But once again, huge thanks for watching. I'll see you on the next one.
Huge thanks to all my channel members for your continued support. I really do appreciate it.